9-foot because you can see there's a hole. If you've been following us on this piano, you know we keep hitting this note and the hammer flies up past the strings. You don't normally see that. That's kind of fun. Anyway, we need a string there. So we're going to install this string real quick. Got the air compressor firing up behind us. Sorry about that. So we can close the door. Look what it's trying to get through. Okay. That's what that door's for. Ugh. Whoa, what's going on? Alright, anyway. Okay, so first, you know, I mean, installing a big long string is the same as installing a short string, right? But step one is make sure you have it threaded through the correct path. So if you have to go under any plate struts, bars, make sure you're under where you need to be. If you have to go under any dampers on the correct side, make sure you got that. We're going to thread it up through the A-graft here. I'm wearing gloves because the pH of my sweat on my hands will turn these strings brown immediately if I touch them. So I don't usually touch them. There's a little bit of a mark there. I actually want to get some tape right there. Whoever took the old one off actually kind of scuffed the paint a little bit, and I don't want to do that. So we're going to just put some painter's tape right there to protect the new plate finish. That's not a big deal. We can pull it off when we're done. But just a little square in this case. Usually we'll tape off this area and then this area when we're stringing a whole piano, because it keeps it from messing up the new paint. I'm just being careful not to touch the strings here at this point, you know, where I would make them brown. But there, that's good enough, and then we'll be able to pull that off after. Now let's thread that through. So step one, make sure that your string is following the correct path all the way from the tuning pin area here. I'm just going to bend that up, pull it through. All the way from the tuning pin area. Look, I'm pulling this winding right up here. When you're on these really skinny ones, you have to be very careful with the end of that winding. You don't want it to unravel because it can make a buzz. So even though I'm butting it up against here, I'm not pulling hard. I'm being very careful with the ends of the string. And we'll just make sure we have it in the right spot here. Okay. There's kind of a curvature to this. I'm going to let it go down. That'll help us. I'm going to stick a bean bag on there just to kind of hopefully help what we're doing here. Now this is a piano that's being restrung, so there's no tuning pin there. I don't always take, you don't always take the tuning pin out, right? It should be there if you've already strung. Here's my little coil measure tool. If you've never seen this, it's kind of cool. It helps you measure the right distance so that your coils all end up the same when the string is tight. For these pianos, for the 9-foot pianos, we run these screws all the way in because the string will stretch out a lot as we get over it. Now this is how I do it. Okay. Where your Beckett bend, a Beckett bend is where there's that bend and it inserts into the pin. You gotta just, let's see, here's a Beckett bend, right? And it goes in the pin. So if you want your Beckett bends to end up in the same spot like these are when it's rotated, it's all about the length, okay? So it's all about how you measure. So here I go, I'm gonna measure this. I'm gonna take a dry erase marker and I'm gonna mark across the front of the wood hole that I see down through the plate. You can't really see that very well, but I can see the wood down there. And I'm gonna make a big fat dry erase mark, and the middle of that mark is my target, okay? So then I'll take my coil measure, stick the string on here, and I just align the edge of my coil measure with the middle of that dry erase mark. And then this is designed, we predetermined where our lengths are. Then I'm going to use my cutters. I butt it up against the end of the coil measure, cut, and I just wipe off that dry erase mark. Now I've got the right length there for the coils to end up good. Now this is just a coiler. I'm going to stick this in here, and we're going to use this pin. So actually our job's a little bit easier restringing a piano for the first time versus doing a repair replacement. I'm going to push that string through. Can you see that, Mark? Mm-hmm. Then I'm going to bring it back flush with the pin. And then I'm just going to use this tool to coil it a bit. 1, 2, and a bit. And if that was too much, it's okay. We can kind of back those coils up. Now with a bass string, these strings, I want more vibrancy out of the tone, and I want the copper wrapping around there to be really tight. So when I rotate the core wire, picture this. Picture something looser, but I'll just tell you, when I rotate the core wire in the direction that's wound, it's tightening that winding on the string. Gives me a brighter, more vibrant tone, and it makes sure that's snug, okay? So we're gonna take the pin, and you can tell the direction of the winding. You can see where the copper ends. You see that on that one? The very end of the copper. So it's going like this way, in this case counterclockwise. So I'm gonna rotate the pin, 1 turn counterclockwise, and then stick it in the hole, okay? Then I gotta yank back on it a bit because my coil was a little bit tight. In this case, we use a palm nailer to drive these in, so I'll just show you what we do. And then I gotta get the air out here. Oh, it's okay, I got it. Of course, when we do a whole piano, you know, we get to this point and we just tap them in and then keep going, and then we'll be driving them in all at once. But this one, so I'm just going to put my tools here. This is a punch that we sell. Well, we're going to sell. We're trying to develop it a little bit, and then we use the palm nailer to drive it. I'm going to leave it high of the others. You can see there's threading sticking out, down there, sticking out above the pin still, and it's a little bit higher than the others because it's going to go down a lot as I turn it, right? So, someone might say, you didn't put a support under that pin block. Well, guess what? The pin block goes on the rim, and it's right next to there. It's supported right there. It's going to be fine. Okay, so I'm just going to do a loose turn here. Get it to about right there. For the bass strings, right there is good. Give it a crimp with parallel pliers just to get that bend in there seated a little deeper. Then I'm going to lift the coil and tighten until it'll stay. Oh, are you okay, Mark?
Yep, I'm good.
Did I get your hand?
I'm fine.
Sorry, I'm not used to working with the camera there. Sorry about that, Mark. Okay, just a little more. Now that's pretty loose still, but it's actually not that far from pitch. But what's going to happen is this string will stretch out, and by the time we tune it up to pitch, it's going to be pretty close to the bend being in the same place. Feel the tension on the strings. I can feel that one's still looser. Almost there. There. You hear how it's becoming consonant? That's almost an octave. Okay, so we've got it up to pitch. Now I'm just going to do another crimp here. I'm going to seat the coil down. I've got a little coil seater thing, setter. Go in here, just give it a little tap. It's already pretty good because the coils are tight from lifting them well. But I'm just going to seat them down there just a little bit. In this case, I'm going to tap the pin a little lower to match its neighbors. And let's see. Yeah, so I'm going to drive this just a punch or two lower. And that'll make it so the pitch will drop actually. There, now it matches its buddies a little better. Now, so now when you look at it from the top, this Beckett, now the last few bass strings of a piano, you're not going to be too fussy with where your Beckett ends up, because it's going to vary a lot, because the tension on these is so low compared to some of the other areas. But anyway, so this will stretch out. We're going to tune it, stretch out, tune it. It'll end up close to where this one is. And look, that one's the same as this one. So it might be, somewhere in between there. So you're not as fussy on here. But when you do this method with the coil, look up here. Look at all of these are tuned up, and the Beckett bends are all in the same rotation. It's kind of hard. You kind of have to pan like back and forth to see that. Anyway, so just by laying the string flat, marking it with a dry erase, and then using the coil measure to your predetermined length, whatever you want, will help you have really consistent things. And you can actually duplicate what's on the piano, whatever, when you come to a piano for a repair. Yeah, so these are for sale on Amazon. You can check those out. That's not why I did this video, but now we have all the strings on this 9-foot, and then I can reach in there and I can pull off that tape. And now I've got a tuning appointment, so we got to run to that. So we'll catch you in the next live stream. Thanks for watching.